Hi, my lovelies. How are you tonight? This is Deanna, your energy shift expert and Akashic Records advisor. And today is January 5th, 2021. Hi, everybody. How are you doing? I am so super excited to see everybody tonight. I got myself a new little monitor so that I can, oops, so I can read you all's. Oops, let me see if I can get this down. Here we go. So let's see here. So okay. So anyway, tonight is January 5th, 2021, and there is so much going on the planet yet again that it's my desire to come on here and be succinct, tell you what I'm going to talk about, and then address each one of the issues, and then have you jump on with your questions if you have any. So tonight, to get started, can everybody give me a great big thumbs up and let me know that you're out there and that you're listening and that you are ready to talk about tonight's topics and what's going to happen in America tomorrow and what I see in the future of 2021. So if you can give me some thumbs up, let me know that you're there. And while you're doing that, I'm going to go over to the Sensitive Fight Club here and see if I can get them on board, because Facebook is telling me that I can actually bring the Sensitive Fight Club on board at the same time. So that, oh, good, some thumbs up. So this is something new that I can do here. Yeah, okay, cool. So now I'm on two places. All right, that's pretty awesome. Anyway, so thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for joining tonight. I love each and every one of you. And to start off, I want to let you know that yes, we're scheduled to go live at 7:30 Mountain Time, and sometimes I'm not always right here, on target. But that's because I have so much going on and to get into place. And sometimes the lights don't want to work. Sometimes the printer doesn't work, and so it can just, be a lot at the same time. So thank you so much for your patience and your love. And let's get started. So tonight, the topics that I am going to cover is I'm going to cover the large shifts in the universe. Then I'm going to cover political unrest. And then one of the questions or comments that I've had mostly this week is that the high pitched whine is becoming unbearable in your ears. If you know people that are going through that, please share the video. Be sure and like it also, so that I can know that you're on board with me. And I noticed that my computer's a little bit shaky with the transmission tonight, so it's probably because of all the energy in the room and all the angels and all the other beings that are in here, because that's what usually causes the wiggy stuff. All right, so let's get right into it and let's talk about the large energy shifts that are happening in the universe right now. So we've got two planets in place, a benefic and a malefic. What does that mean? The two big planets locked into place. We entered the formal age of Aquarius. Basically, the baby came out, and it's adjusting to being on this side, and it's adjusting to where it's at in space and time. And so, because of where the planets have aligned way like 3 or 4 months before this, and where they're aligning now, we are seeing the exact same planetary alignments as some of the greatest shifts in our most recent history. And so you're going to be seeing a lot of political unrest, a lot of vying for control of the country. And for those of you outside of the US that watch my broadcasts, I love you very deeply. This is a subject I'm passionate about. If you have questions about your country, please send them along, and then I can address those as well. So let's start off with saying hello to a few folks here. I'd like to say hello to Tammy and Jennifer and Rhonda and Mindy and Kim and Orlando. Good to see you, Orlando. Melissa, hi. Jennifer, hello. Kelly, hello. Okay, so that's it for our greetings. Now, a small bit of business. I'm so super excited to announce I have learned that there are things called smart TVs. People have smart TVs and they can view YouTube. So after I get done here, I usually take my video and I post it up on YouTube, so the YouTube followers can watch it on their smart TV. Well, recently, a little birdie told me that Facebook is putting a platform of Facebook TV up on the smart TVs. And I don't know how that works, but I was super excited when I found that out. So now you might be able to go on your smart TV and watch as well as other videos. But I thought that was pretty exciting. The other exciting news that I'd like to share is that every Thursday I'm at the bookstore at For Heaven's Sakes Books. As long as we are able to be there, with the COVID rules and stuff like that, I'm there in person. And in the past, you had to call the bookstore and register to see me on that day. And I'm so super excited to announce that just yesterday, for heaven's sakes, books.com in Denver, Colorado, launched a brand new website. And their website, you can now go on and click on practitioners, and you can click on me, and you can book your appointment right then and right there. There's no waiting for the bookstore to open up in the morning. You can get right on the books, and it's super exciting. And then we can see each other in person, or we can do a Zoom talk, or we can do it on the phone, and it's so much more accessible and easy. So I thought that would bring that right up front and let you know, and invite you to join me there on Thursday and Friday. This Friday, I'm going to be there, but they're also having the fair day. So that just means it's a discounted rate so that you can get some discount pricing if you need it. So be sure and go over to the bookstore and sign up. Thank you for that. Now, moving right along. Oh, I got some hearts that people are excited about that. Yay! Okay. So what's going on in the universe? So the large shifts in the universe do also include the alignments of many planets, many stars. We are starting another yuga, not a Kali yuga, but a yuga. And that is a period of time where the planets go into a certain alignment and then they start all over again. So right now is a great time of enlightenment. There is so much energy that is being put forth for us to take our spiritual selves and connect to, and to recognize where we are in space and time and how special this precious time is. Yes, there's a lot going on in the news. Yes, there's a lot shifting around the world and in the countries. And yes, COVID is still going around, but it's evolving and changing and shifting the little booger so that things that have been used in the past to stop it are not stopping it. So there's all those kind of things that are going on. And that can be a lot overwhelming for a lot of people, and especially the highly sensitive and empathic people. But please know that these big shifts in the universe, there is a frequency that's called the fifth dimension. So the third dimension, well, let me start a little bit. The second dimension is where COVID lives. That's where bacteria lives. That's where, if you're with it, sprites and fairies live. And it's things we can't see, but with a microscope, we've been able to see bacteria. So that is in the second dimension. It's a frequency. Third dimension we can see. That's the carbon bodies that we can see, in our backgrounds and all that. That's the third dimension. The fourth dimension is where your divine self, your spirit self, connects up to God's spirit source, or the all that is. And in the fifth dimension, that's where this frequency of love is. That's where we are connected to this frequency of love. And in the past, because of the alignment of the planets and the evolution of mankind, it's been kind of closed off. But over the last few years, it's been opening more and more and more. And so people that are spiritually enlightened, awakened, are learning faster and faster and faster. And this last shift knocked a lot of you starseeds on the head and said, hello, my dear, it is time for you to wake up and smell the fifth dimension, to breathe it in and to know where you are. And I've had so many people reaching out to me saying, Deanna, I am freaking out. I know I'm supposed to be doing something, but I don't know what it is. And then the world's seen it, and I'm all like, okay, no worries. No worries. Today, I am finishing putting the next Spiritual Awakening Academy, all of that stuff together so I can launch that, and you guys can get right on there and get the information that you need and find the direction that you need. And I should get that up probably by Monday. And I say probably because I'd like to get it done tomorrow, but you know how days run these days. Everything's so fast. But you can get right onto that academy and you can learn about how to know what your purpose is, because you know what your purpose is. It's right here. It is right under your very nose. You just need a little direction to discover what it is, and also to be able to shield yourself. A lot of the starseeds, the highly sensitive, the empaths, some of those are, more than one. You're feeling disconnected from the world around you. I've had people tell me that their relationships they've had for a long time are just ripping apart for a lot of different reasons. Sometimes that ripping apart, if you will, has to do with the energy match just wasn't there in the relationships. It just wasn't. But being a healer and an empath and a sensitive, we wanted to pour our love into that person. We wanted to pour our devotion into that person, because we knew if we did it just enough, they would change and we would get to love and hug them forever when they grew into this wonderful person they were supposed to be. And that just simply isn't happening. And this fifth dimensional frequency is vibrating so much. It's like, come, come, come. You've got to raise yourself to this level, because there's so much for you to learn and to know. And so you've got to let go of the baggage. And by no means do I ever think it's right to tell somebody to break up or to leave a relationship. That's up to you. But what I'm saying is, when I see across the board, all of my clients well, not all of them, but the ones that are bringing this up are all telling me they're having this shift in between the two and they can't hold on anymore. And they're having to let go. And that's sad. It's ripping up a lot of families and it's causing, a lot of issues. But at the same time, that's where we are, people. Plain and simple. It's ugly. It's also exciting. It just depends on where you are. So that is what is happening with these large shifts in the universe. And I have been holding that back for a while, because I thought, wow, does everybody really want to hear that? Do they need to know? Is it just a few people? But I'm finding it so much more and more and more and more. And the boss said, share it. So there you go. All right. I'm going to look at my feed really quickly, and I'm going to see if I have any questions, and then I'm going to continue about what else I see on the political scene, what's going to be happening in the next few days, a few weeks. It's really scary, but it's also super exciting. So hang on, let me see if I've got any other questions. I don't. So good. So that means I'm doing good. Okay. So what the next thing I'd like to talk about is the political unrest. And you know that I love you all, and you know that the highest authority is the one that I'm most interested in. But right now, there is so much tension, again, in America, also the world. But America is where I'm at for my Ireland and Great Britain clients. I love you. But that's where I'm at. And in America, if you've been looking or watching the news, there is so much being told to us. We don't know what to believe. If you feel comfortable, give me a thumbs up if you're like, I don't know what the heck to believe anymore. My 30-something clients are telling me they just want to get it over with and get on with it because they're tired of it. But you've got two things that are happening. And I asked my guides today, I said, which way is it going to go? Because I'd really like to know. Do I need to tuck and duck, or do I need to celebrate? And I didn't hear anything. So that tells me things are not yet decided. Same as above is below, right? But here's what I do know. Now please listen with your hearts open, people. Trying to remain neutral here. If tomorrow I think it is, the paperwork is handed down and the vice president announces who the next presidential candidate is going to be, and it's not the current president, then my understanding is that the current president is going to put forward a certain act. And he's going to call that all this voting stuff be put basically on trial. That's my limited understanding of politics. Was not my major in college. And if that happens, if he calls this stuff going on and he says, I'm going to put this act in place, if he does that, my understanding is that our shores and our borders and our military are going to kind of hang out to keep things safe. There'll probably be other places too. If, however, the vice president hands down the paper after things have been counted and announces the other party as being the winner, then there's going to be a large shift in the way things are run in this country. And you will see a lot of people in upheaval about it. So, either way it goes, there's going to be upheaval. What does that upheaval look like? Who knows? I don't think it's going to be a lot of pandemonium, but I do think that people are going to start changing the way that they feel about how the country is being run, either way. And I think that this unrest is going to come forward, and there's going to be a large movement for political change. But according to history, if you follow history, and you look at when the Declaration of Independence was signed, and you look at how many years that we've had this country, and then the known history of democracies and how long they last, we are over that time period by about 20 years, I think, give or take. And so if you look at it that way, we are overdue for change. A lot of change. And it's going to happen very quickly. So I'm going to ask you to have no fear. I'm going to ask you to stay awake, aware, and alert about what's happening, how it's affecting your neighborhood. Continue to go to work. Continue to buy products. Continue to pay your bills. And just keep on keeping on. Straight and narrow. Narrow is the way. And wait until whatever unfolds is at your doorstep or in your neighborhood, and then you will know what to do. Not a whole lot you can do until that time. Please don't hold your breath. I'm going to ask that no matter what faith or spirituality that you hold, that you connect to the divine, to God's spirit source, universal source, and draw that energy in and be at one with it. So as these changes come along, you're going to be better able to go back and forth with whatever is happening instead of being solid and knocked constantly, okay? It's a scary time, but again, it's also exciting. It's super duper exciting. And I know there's a lot of energy in this room right now because I keep seeing my screen flicker. I don't know if it'll come off in the recording or not. But that's it. I also understand from some media that I did read and some people that, talked to me about different things, that there's going to be some kind of a gathering tomorrow, if I'm not mistaken, at the White House. And there's going to be a group of people that are for one party, and there's going to be a group of people that are for the other party. And I hope they mind their P's and Q's, because if they don't, then somebody's going to have to come in and kind of, make them behave themselves, if you will. And that's where I think it could get titchy, and that's where I think an explosion could happen. Okay? And I'd like it to be a little bit calmer, but I know sometimes change isn't easy. And it comes with a lot of energy. So I'm going to look in the feed and see if I have any questions. If you have questions, if you're live with me on Facebook, please put them down here in the feed so I can answer them. If you're not willing to go public with those things, you can, I think it's over here on Facebook. There's a little messenger on my page, and you can click on that and send me a private message. Or you can go to toolsofenergyprotection.com, click on contact, find my email address, send me a private email. Okay? Let's see what I've got here. Oh, yes, and if you're watching later on the recording. If you put the questions in, I do the best I can within a couple days to get back and answer the questions. You can put questions down here on YouTube if you're on YouTube, and also down here if you're at toolsofenergyprotection.com. Okay. Oh, somebody says Happy New Year. Yeah! Happy New Year to you too. That's awesome and amazing. So, I've given you the kind of icky information, the kind of feeling in your gut information, but I will tell you that there is some super exciting news. So now I'm going to go from the political unrest, but hang on, because this ties into it. I'm going to go to the high-pitched whine in the ears that almost seems unbearable. And one of my friends sent me a text today, and apparently Schumann's resonance that I've been talking about for a while and the high-pitched whine is now being discussed on TikTok. Imagine that. And no, it wasn't me. Anyway, so I went on before the broadcast and I ran the Schumann's frequency and I also ran the critical frequencies. And what I'd like to show you is that today this particular information is taken from all over the globe and then sent to Russia, and then they put it up, and this is where I get it. So 2100 hours in Russia time, it's almost 13-hour time difference from Colorado. So that was, if I'm not real good with all of this, but I think that was, let's see here, conversion of time, let's see here, 1, 2, I think it was like 12 hours ago. But what happened that is so exciting and what ties into the high-pitched whine is if you have felt over the last week or the last 5 days an acceleration of this high-pitched whine where it's so loud and it's almost unbearable and you're like, what the heck, right? Some people are extremely annoyed. That has to do with some of the Schumann's resonant frequency, just a little bit, okay? So if you look at, I believe this would be 1 o'clock Colorado time on the 1st, yesterday. This is at 1200 hours right here. And then over here, 12 hours later, it happens again. And can you see how that, runs down the page almost the same between those two lines? It did it over here too. Okay? And so if you go in the critical frequencies, you can see what the colors are, what they're measuring, and what that means. So I'm like, okay, what was it that heightened during that time that my guidance has told me is about 89% of why the high-pitched whine is turning up. 89%. Why is that happening? That's because when the Schumann spikes like that, it's shifting a frequency which is called FBE, or frequency-based noise coherence function. Lots of words. But notice the word coherence function. Coherent. Understandable, the understandable function. So, when Schumann's registers with those little spikes like that, what's happening is that little, on the graph it's white, line at 1200 hours and 2100 hours, notice the 1s and 2s, I thought that was quite fascinating, brings this high-pitched whine into alignment so that people that are spiritually attuned or starseeds or awake are hearing this. And that's why they hear it louder and louder. Because when it becomes so unbearable and painful, then you begin to pay attention to it. And this mind up here in the front, your cognitive brain, may not understand it. And that's the part that's like, what the schmeg? But the information is actually in your divine self. And that information is usually stored back here with your synapses, but not always, okay? But what's happening is when people are meditating and spiritually gifted, you can go look at maps of their brain and where it lights up and where the functions and all that light up. And if you could sit down in a chair where they could measure that, when the frequencies are high and the high-pitched whine is high, they would find the parts of your brain that are the most active are the spiritual ones, the yogi ones, the om ones. I don't know what other way to say it. And if you are spiritually gifted, that means your very DNA was programmed before you were born for these divine gifts from God. They're so beautiful. And they're being activated. So please, if you have the high-pitched whine and it's driving you crazy, get a hold of me. I will help you. And if you know people that are having the same issue, share the video. There's a group on Facebook that I belong to, but they ask you not to advertise yourself. It's kind of irritating to me at the moment because my desired outcome is to let them know what's really happening, but it's a fine line. So maybe one of you will know that group and share this. But what I'm saying is that your gift from God's Spirit or Source was to be born at various times along the timeline for this very time right now. And there are various names for you: starseed, crystalline children, indigo children. I know there's one I'm missing in between there, sorry. But those are some of the names that have been put on by the spiritual community so people can talk about it. But it's also talked about in a spiritual way, in a divine way. The Bible talks about it, and it's there. So if that's what you're experiencing, I want you to know what is happening. So please come closer because I'm about to tell you what's happening. Those frequencies are accelerating because there's information in those frequencies to help you during these transitional times. You are being given information. You are being given where to go, how to go, when to do it. And it is all right there in those frequencies, in that high-pitched whine. So, when things go awry or anarchy comes or whatever's going to happen, if you go down inside of your heart and your mind and your heart, remember Jesus says your mind and your heart, guard them, because that information is right there. You'll feel a little bit more calm. And I say a little bit because things get freaky. We all go, ah, right? But you'll feel calm and you will know the truth and the light and the way. If you have the inclination, go look up what Jesus said. I am the way. I am the truth. I am the light. Because he already knew about that connection. The only way to get you off your game when it comes to that connection is fear and worry and anxiety, all in the same boat. That's why I say one thing. If you are afraid, if you are in fear, if you're anxious, you're like this, and you will never be able to hear that connection and what it's telling you in your mind and your heart. Never. Because there's too much interference. For those of you that are old school, we used to have black and white TVs and you had little rabbit ears you had to put up to get the picture just right. And if the rabbit ears weren't right, the picture would roll and it was fuzzy and irritating. And that's pretty much the same thing. That's what's happening. So, 89% of the information that's being transmitted is about the emotional and mental security. Mental, emotional security. Guard your heart, your heart and your mind. I keep doing that. I'm upside down, I guess. So, my dear people, do what it takes to get out of fear. I had a young man that I worked with this week, beautiful young man, and he's afraid because he lost his job. He's running out of money. His credit cards are being wrung to the hilt, and he didn't know what to do. And he was so desperate for an answer. And I don't mean that in a negative way, desperate, but he really, he's seeking. That he spent money on a session with me for an hour. I was flabbergasted. I didn't know what to say. I mean, that's really desiring something. So in that time, I helped him to have a single focus every day. And I know that he, beyond a shadow of a doubt, will find a job and income within a week or two. It depends on if he takes action. And I'm sure he will. But during these times, you have to have faith. And faith is asking for something and walking forward and knowing that it will come to you. And I'm going to tell you, these frequencies, these fifth dimensional frequencies that are coming, the more connected and spiritually gifted you are, the faster things come. You just think about them, and within 24 hours, sometimes less, it just appears. And that's what you have access to that's so beautiful. Please don't fear. I almost did. There was a lot of things this week, a lot of pieces I had to put in place on Monday, and I wasn't sure if I had what it took to put all the pieces in place. And I was afraid at first. I'm like, oh no, what if I don't have this? What if I don't have that? Because these were things that were timely, that you got penalties if you didn't take care of. And I relaxed and I said, you know what? God has got my back. He's got this. And I said, please show me the way. And one by one, individuals started popping up on Monday to help me fill out the places that I couldn't by myself, one by one. And I took action. And I got what I needed. And they got what they needed. Energy exchange. And because I had no fear, that happened. In the past, I've gone, and I've, been in fear, and nothing comes. And it's just, open your heart, open your mind, ask for what you desire, what's lacking, what pieces are missing for you, and allow them to come. And they will. It is so simple. And sometimes our conscious mind is like, it's too simple, it can't work. If you agree with that, if you felt that, can I get a thumbs up or a smiley face or laughing face, something? I'm going to watch my little camera over here that I set up just to see what we get. And while I'm waiting for those to come up, okay, we talked about the energy shifts, the political unrest, the high-pitched whine. Okay, we talked about, oh, look, I'm getting some hearts. Yay! Thank you. Okay, there's a few of you out there. So, as long as you can stay, oh, I got a thumbs up. Okay, good. As long as you can stay in that space, what you desire is going to come within your realm. Oh, I got some more hearts. Thank you. Thank you. So today, on my list of things to do was to make a payment to something I'd signed up for in the middle of last month. And they said they would send me an email, and all I had to do was set up an account and make a payment. And I never saw the email, and I'm like, eek, I need to get that taken care of. So that was number one on my list. I got to the office today, and I got engaged in the work that I was doing, and 90 to nothing, of course, getting things set up, and this and that needed taken care of, and I'd almost forgotten about it. That's the key. And my phone rang, and it was exactly the company that I needed to talk to, asking me why I hadn't created an account yet. Now, how timely is that? it saved me from having to look through all the emails and, search out this and contact that person. And it saved me a lot of time and headache. It can be things like that too. So just know there's so many things that are available. And I'd also like to address that there has been some unbearable anxiety that folks are feeling. And they've been numbing out. So that might be drugs, that might be alcohol, that might be eating too much food, might be watching too much TV. But know that sometimes we all need an out, a little uplift. And so I'm going to recommend that you get out and take a walk, get some sunshine, maybe have lunch with a friend if you're okay with that. Because we need to remember what our real world looks like. It's not just these videos and these people that we can't touch on electronics. But there's a real world out there full of love, believe it or not. So let's recap very quickly. Number one, on the smart televisions, there's something called Facebook TV. You can go over to, I believe there's an app place on the TVs, and you can look for Facebook TV. So if you would like, you can get this particular program there. If you're not, of course, you can watch it on YouTube. And then at For Heaven's Sakes Books in Denver, they have a brand new website, and all you have to do is click on, I believe it is providers or practitioners, and it will show you everybody, and you can click on my picture, and it will take you right over to the calendar. So you can book anytime you like. You don't have to go, oh gosh, I want to book with Deanna, on Thursday or Fair Friday, and I forgot to call, and then before you know it, it's gone. You can just go right online and book. And the Friday, this Friday, should have the fair prices. So it's like $10 less for a session than normal, the discount, I believe. So if that's not working, you can let me know or call the store and let them know. And we've covered a lot. It's a lot to take in. So tomorrow will be one of the rare times that I'm actually going to be paying attention and watching the news and looking at news developments, because I'd really like to know what's going on, but no matter what, we're going to continue living. The world will go on, and we will continue. We'll continue to eat and sleep and pay rent and love our families. Nothing is really going to change that much. But again, guard this, okay? I don't see any other, wait, let me see. Okay, one person says, I am ready for the change, no fear here, just love. Woohoo! You go, girl. One person sends a big hug, and then one person says, my ears are screaming. So if your ears are screaming, or somebody whose is, reach out to me, because I have come up with a formula that just takes a few minutes, and it can turn that down a lot. So even if you don't want to get on my appointment book, just reach out to me, send me a text, send me an email, something, and we'll get together and we'll do it. You don't necessarily have to get on the books. So I'd like to just get it adjusted. But please know that is information being downloaded, and your spiritual mind understands it. And so when the time comes and things start to shift, whichever way they're going to, you will know what to do as long as you stay in here and here, okay? So that's it. I thank you so much for joining me tonight. Mwah, big hugs, big kisses. I love you all. Remember, Friday at For Heaven's Sakes Books at the bookstore. It's a discounted session rate, so get right on. Make sure you go either online. If you can't get online and book it, call and get your place reserved so we can get together. And I will see you soon. Big hugs, big kisses. Good night, everybody.